perhaps you're not able to name all the works of mercy, some corporal works of mercy like feed the hungry, visit the sick, bury the dead. Perhaps you can think of a spiritual work of mercy like instruct the ignorant. But maybe there are other works that should be added to that list. And to tell us a little bit more about that, I'm now joined by two sisters all the way from Jamaica, Sister Joanne Belmonte and Sister Ashley Spaulding of the Missionaries of the Poor. Welcome, sisters.
Thank you. Thank
So
you
good.
so much.
So good. Now, you, Sister Joanne, I'm going to start with you because you live in Jamaica, but you're not Jamaican, you're Canadian.
Italian-Canadian.
Italian-Canadian from the
Italian.
Toronto area.
Yes.
Did you
yes.
grow up in Toronto?
Grew up in Toronto from when I was 4.
Wow.
My parents immigrated from Italy
Okay.
at the age of 4, and,
And
yes.
you were born in Italy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever think that you'd be a religious sister?
When I was, I think, about 10 or 11, at that age there, I wanted to be a nun.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yes. And I went to my mother, and I said, I want to be a nun, but she said, I don't know, daughter. Because, she knew no place to send me, no convent, no this, no
Right.
that. But in truth and reality, I don't think God wanted me then.
No, not
So
at
then
that
I
time.
just continued. I wanted to be a nun nurse, but always a nun nurse. But as I said, in truth, I don't really think God wanted me then. So he
But you
allowed me to be a nurse.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I was going to
Yes.
say. So you were a nurse for many, many years?
Many years, yes.
In Toronto?
In Toronto.
Working for social
I
services? Or?
Well, I worked at sick kids for
Okay.
many years because my passion has always been children.
Right.
I worked at sick kids for many, many years, and then I switched over to public health. But once again, working in the schools.
Right.
And so it was all, children were always part of my life.
Right. And I'll get to you in a second because I want to hear your story as well.
Oh, yes.
But which I'm sure is very different. But so Father Richard Ho Lung, who is the founder and former superior of the Missionaries of the Poor.
Yes.
He's been in this program a few times. We know the brothers, the Missionaries of the Poor. He was at your parish and he made a call. He said, "Come to Jamaica."
Yes, just a very simple call. Well, let me just share with you that
Yes.
before that, I knew that in my heart of hearts that God wanted more from me.
Right.
I did, volunteer work, and I took care of my parents when they were ill until they both, passed away. But there was still something inside me that was not fulfilled.
Okay.
I thought it was a husband,
Right.
but I'm Italian upbringing, and I thought it was children, but no children without a husband.
No.
So I would ask the Lord, send me a husband. You're not sending me a husband.
Right.
And
No husband.
and no
came.
husband came, so no children.
He had other plans.
I had other plans.
Oh, yeah.
So then Father came to my parish that I belong here, Blessed Trinity.
Yeah.
And after Mass, he invited everybody to come to the concert that he had, but he also issued an invitation. Come to Jamaica.
Yes.
And even though the church was full, he was talking to me. Forget about everybody else.
But
It
at the
was
time,
me.
you weren't thinking, I'm going to go to Jamaica and become a religious
No,
sister. You thought you were going to
no,
go and
just-
be a nurse.
I didn't
or
know.
help.
No, not even a nurse. I didn't even know what I was going to be.
But you were going to go.
I was going to
help.
go. Oh, yes, most definitely. And then when I was given that opportunity, I went
Right.
to Jamaica. And no, I left my nursing at the gate. In fact, I never even shared that I was a nurse
Okay.
with anybody there because I didn't really know anything about Missionaries of the Poor. I didn't have a computer, so there was nothing to
And
go
she
onto
was
the
a nurse.
computer, to check out what this thing was about. And because they would say to me, what are you going to go do there? I don't know. But
Just
whatever they want, I'll do.
Okay.
And that was
and
my...
did you have a plan to stay, or
No,
you were going to go
no,
for
no
a
plan,
for
no
a few
plan.
weeks?
No,
No
no.
plan. Okay.
2 weeks. I was planning to go for
Okay.
2 weeks.
2
Yeah.
weeks. Okay. Just hold on a second, because before we get to how the sisters branch started. So, did you ever think that you'd be a religious sister?
Oh no. Oh no.
What were you thinking growing up? You were 10 years old, 15
I
years
wasn't
old.
even Catholic. Oh my gosh.
Okay, tell me.
But God is so good, and the Catholic faith is so rich.
Yes.
And boy, I belonged to a Protestant church before. My mother have no religion.
Right.
But she has this long time thing saying that she's an Adventist.
Okay.
So we didn't do anything on Saturday. And
Right.
boy, we act like an Adventist.
Yes.
But I was going to this Protestant church and I didn't feel fulfilled. And we were grow up saying that Catholics are bad people.
Yeah, she persecuted Catholics.
Yes.
Oh, she forgot that, huh?
Yes.
Yes.
She was always
I
trying to
know.
find
St.
ways
Paul
of...
did too,
Yeah.
so you're in good company.
Oh yeah, and he's my patron saint.
Oh, good.
Yes, one
Huh?
of my patron saints with Saint
What
Patrick
happened to
Pio.
Patrick Pio?
Oh yes.
No, I noticed that you spell your last name Spaulding and with Paul, P-A-U-L. So Paul is in your last name. Spaulding. That's
I guess
very
Patrick
good.
Peel's
Oh,
put to the
yes.
side. Huh?
Oh no.
So you at some point, I guess you felt attracted to the Catholic Church.
But how I become attracted is so weird.
Yes.
As I said at first, I used to criticize the Catholic because we grew up saying that the Catholic Church is only for the high and mighty.
Okay.
And when they think about Roman Catholics, the mentality in us is that the Romans are the one that killed Jesus. So we always have this bad
Okay.
negative. But in my final exam in high school, I have this project. I was doing religious education
Right.
as one of the course. And within that course, we had to choose a religion and their belief to study. So I said, you know what? Let me do the Catholic faith. Because I went in there ready to criticize and see all the bad things.
Right.
But when I looked up everything, my first thing is that, because we said, they worship Mary and they do all these kind of things. So that was my aim, to go in there and to find all these things, to bash the religion.
Okay.
And when I went in and I see all the good and how beautiful things were, I broke down in tears. And then what really bring me is the love for the Eucharist.
Right.
I always ask, what is that little box in the Catholic Church? What is that little light? What is that little light? And then I started to say to all my friends, because in my Protestant church, I was a youth leader, I was a this, I was a that. So when I left, it was a big blow.
Right.
But I had to.
Uh-huh.
I had to.
Wow, it's such a full story. But I do want to skip ahead a little bit to, so you're now in Jamaica, you're helping, I guess, the brothers with the work that they do, the Missionaries of the Poor.
Well, not really helping. We have our own identity.
No, but before the Community of Sisters
oh,
even
yes, I was
began.
going down
So
volunteering.
how did, because the Missionaries of the Poor, the brothers.
Oh, yes, been 36 years.
So, yes. So how did we end up with 4 sisters that are starting a new branch? Can I call it a branch?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, in 2007, Father approached me. Approached me about Holy Innocent.
And you were already in Jamaica.
Yes, I was volunteering. I was
Okay.
going down 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a year. And every
Okay.
time I went down there, I was supposed to go down there for 3 weeks, extended it to 4 weeks.
Right,
You know,
I see.
and friends up here would say, "You're going to move down there one day," but no,
Yeah,
no.
yes.
So this year, Father approached me and talked to me about Holy Innocent was already beginning.
And Holy Innocence was the home for
The
pregnant
home for
women.
Pregnant women,
Okay.
yes, the future home for pregnant women. But brothers couldn't take care of this home.
Because it was women.
It was women, and they were healthy women. Because we take care of the least of our brothers and sisters.
Right.
And this is where we just break away from that, taking care of the least of our brothers and sisters. The women were healthy.
Okay.
And so young brothers could not be taking care of healthy women, even though they're pregnant.
Right.
So he needed women. So he asked me, as a lay woman, not as a religious woman, as a lay woman, would I consider, pray to leave Toronto and go down there and run Holy Innocent? I said, wow, whoa, I wasn't really expecting that. And he gave me time to think about it, but I have to tell you, in truth, I knew what my answer was going to be.
Yes.
Because, as I said, I knew what God wanted more of me, and I knew that it would be yes. He gave me a year to pray on it, to discern on it, but a year later, when he came to me and asked me, so what's your answer, sister? And I said, oh, yes, Father,
Right.
without a question. So then, I guess 6-7 months later, I was down in Jamaica for Easter, and he calls me to speak to me. And then he says, well, just think, if Holy Innocent is filled of women, pregnant women, and we have many babies there, and we have no volunteers to help you, how are you going to take care of these women? Well, I have to tell you, I never thought of that. I mean, because he said, you know what a sisterhood has to start. He said, because we need women that are dedicated exactly like the brothers.
Right.
And he said, and I said, oh no, Father, I'm too old.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Because I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
I said, no. I said, you have to get somebody younger to do. No, he said, how old are you? And I think it was 54, 55. He said, good age.
Yes.
Oh, yes, good age. And once again, he said to pray on it
Yeah.
and think about it and go home and pray. So I did. But then my second eldest brother said to me one day, you live like a nun. And I guess that was the answer from the
Yes.
Lord. I lived like a nun. Might as well just, if he wanted a
Right.
commitment, a public commitment, that was okay by me. I mean, whatever, at that time I had already said, Lord, whatever you want, your will be mine. You know?
Right.
So, yes,
Right.
the answer. And I have to tell you, Father Holang didn't wait for an answer.
No. No. No.
Because he was phoning me, sister, you know what? There's this young lady that she's interested in the sisterhood. What do you think? And I thought, okay. I
Okay.
guess he knows the answer is yes.
Okay.
And that's how the sisterhood came into
Okay,
being.
so, and I'm interested in knowing how, at what point you came in, but we're going to take a little break right now. But it's a short break, so don't go anywhere. We're speaking with two sisters, missionaries of the poor from Jamaica, and when we come back, we're going to learn a little bit more about what is the work that they do, so stay tuned. We're speaking with Sister Joanne Belmonte and Sister Ashley Spaulding of the Missionaries of the Poor, the Sisters branch, the sisterhood. So, thank you. You just gave us a little bit of background of how you were slowly inched towards, I guess, being a co-founder of the Sisters branch. How did you hear about this opportunity?
Well, one of my friends invite me. The brothers have a home in the mountain. Actually, I'm from the mountainside in Jamaica. I'm from
Right.
Stony Hill.
Okay.
The brothers have a home there where they have these abandoned children, disabled,
Yes.
and disfigured.
Yes.
And my friend invited me there. Actually, I was following her to get a food package from the brothers. Oh,
right.
yes. And then
Okay.
when I went to the mountain, and all these kids, as the door were open, all these kids just rushed out to me. And I was overwhelmed. I ran because my heart was just so overwhelmed. I've never seen this before. Yes, I belong to Jamaica, but I've never seen
Right.
the poor as how I've seen. And I'm not rich,
Yes.
but the poorest of the poorest, I've never really seen that.
Right.
And in my heart, it just keep coming back. And I couldn't understand why was I so afraid. But in my heart, I wanted to care for these people. And I wait for my friend a distant away.
Right.
And then the brother called me and said, come, just come. Don't be afraid, just come. And I take it as my personal invitation too. And when I went, all the kids were just so warmed and so loving.
Yes.
And I said, Lord, this is what I need to do.
Yes.
And
Had you already entered the Catholic Church or not yet?
oh no.
No, not yet.
Not yet,
Okay,
not
yeah.
yet.
But you felt called to
It-
care for these
I
children.
just felt called to care for
Right,
them.
okay.
I was feeling this thing to become a Catholic, but I tell you, to convert from another,
It's difficult.
it's very difficult.
Yes.
And you have to do everything secretly until it just bursts out.
Yes.
And
right.
I was going with my friend up and down, and then one day I said, you know what am I hiding for? I'm just going to tell my mother.
Yeah.
But when I tell her, my mother has no religion. She's claimed that she's practicing. But when I told her, she was so upset with me.
Right. Yeah.
She was so upset with me, and I said, okay, I'm not going to go. But I just keep finding myself going back. And then they didn't even have a church there. They were still celebrating Mass like in the patio. And we were going to Mass. That's when I started to learn the catechism.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I am going to be baptized. I'm not going to be afraid. I am going to be baptized. And the church that I used to attend, they all criticize.
Right.
They all say, we have a thing in the Protestant church where they read you out.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
So they read me out of the church.
Right. Yeah.
So embarrassing. So when everybody see you going on the road, they're saying, oh, you were read out the other day.
Yes. Yeah.
But I know that I was dropping something for something even
Right.
more deeper and more beautiful.
Right.
And then, cut a long story short, how I become a sister is like another story.
But how was so from the time that you were baptized to the time that you I guess, became a sister, how long, much time?
I baptized 2009 and I become a sister 2011.
Okay.
So it's very short.
Very short. Now, around the same time, Sister Joanne, you and Father Richard are working on this other scheme.
Yeah, I have to admit, though, even though I had said yes, but there was nothing started. So whenever anybody asked about the sisterhood, especially because the brothers, constantly, oh, you're going to be a sister. I said, there's no sisterhood. What you talking about? There's no sisterhood. There's no sisterhood. So it wasn't until I moved down there 2010. And in 2010, they also sent me to Haiti because there was the cholera outbreak.
Okay.
And so I was there for Christmas. It was not where I was supposed to be, or I thought it was supposed to be, but it was where God wanted me.
Right.
And that's where I actually gave my complete and total yes to the Lord. Okay, out loud. And because that's when, in the wee hours of the morning, when I was in the chapel by myself, this is when he said to me, okay, if your yes is yes, this is when you have to proclaim it out loud, no more silently.
Yes.
And so, and that's when I started to say yes, out loud.
Right.
Are you going to be a sister? Yes.
Interesting.
And that's when it actually really, start to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. So at some point, again, just skipping ahead, the four of you came together for women to became the founding sisters.
Yes.
Four. How
That's
many many sisters are there now?
In Jamaica, we have 5 professed, right?
5 professed.
Five
5 professed. Sister
novice.
Ashley and 3 others are temporary.
Okay.
They're temporary vows. I'm perpetually.
Okay.
And then we have 9 in canonical year.
Okay.
And God willing, next year they'll be doing their first vows.
So
And-
that's like they're novices?
Yes.
Novices.
Okay,
Novices.
novices.
And we have 1 postulant.
Okay, and you also have a sisterhood community
In Uganda.
In Uganda, yes.
In Uganda,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about. So you mentioned the home for it's called Holy Innocents.
Holy Innocents.
So that
yes.
was where it began. The work
Yes,
that you were doing,
yes.
working with pregnant
Pregnant
women, not only crisis pregnancies.
No, first it began just with pregnant women that wanted to abort their child, to
Okay,
kill
so
their
you're
child.
giving them an option.
Yes, we're giving them an option. Come live with us.
Yes.
Let us take care of you. And then if you decide you don't want your baby, we'll take care of your baby.
Okay.
We'll take care of the baby
Okay.
too. So this way here, they didn't have to worry, I can't afford it, I can't do this, I can't do, we would take care of everything.
Is that part of the original? Because you take a 4th vow, but it's
Free
not
service.
a
To
free
believe
service. Okay, but it's
Yes.
not specifically to caring for
Anybody. But for
anybody.
us, it was for pregnant women.
For pregnant women.
For pregnant
Okay.
women.
But
yes.
now you're caring for more
We're
than
caring
More.
for
just
the
pregnant
disabled
women.
children and elderly women.
But only women.
Yes,
Only
only
women.
women.
Because the brothers are taking care of the men
men,
and
yes,
the boys.
yeah.
Okay. Would you say, because I began by asking, sort of corporal works of mercy, and I know that you would describe your work as corporal and maybe spiritual as well,
Spiritual,
works of
yes.
mercy, but you're not, you're taking care of the sick, maybe, the disabled, I guess. I don't know if you
Definitely.
like to think of them as sick. They're,
Elderly.
No, but
Some of them are.
They
Yeah.
were sick.
Yeah.
but pregnant women, that's not really on the list of corporal works of mercy.
No, they may not be physically
Or even the
sick.
unborn child is also not on that list.
No, but they're spiritually sick.
Right.
They're spiritually broken.
Uh-huh.
A lot of our young ones. We have had one that was 13 years old.
Wow.
Spiritually and physically,
Yeah.
they are
Physically,
broken.
they are broken.
Yeah.
And mentally too, because one was raped. First, it was raped by a stranger,
Yeah.
and then it turned out to be it was her mother's live-in
Right.
was the
Yes.
one that. So mentally and spiritually and phically, at some point, they are
Should be
broken.
a part of the corporal works.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
I guess in a
Yeah.
way it is. We can always we can look at that list very narrowly, or we can look at it the way I think
Yes.
we're
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
look at it with eyes of mercy,
Mercy.
Yeah.
right?
Anybody who is in need of
Yeah.
mercy
Mercy,
belongs to
Absolutely.
yes.
And I have to tell you, some of them are such sad stories. There's not one of them that has come to us that does not have a sad story behind her.
But they
Really.
all live happily.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
all
leave, yes.
live
We do take
very-
care of them. We take care of their every need.
Yes. Now, and is it only sisters that are working at these centers, or do you have volunteers? Do you rely on other lay people that are helping you with the
Well,
work?
volunteers that come from North America,
Okay.
most
Oh,
yes.
definitely, they come to help us. As they go to our brother centers, they also come to our centers.
Okay.
And then we do have some locals
Right.
volunteers. And we do that because we do need the help.
Right, of course. Do they have to be women to help you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And you said that, so this is an appeal. If you're watching this program and you're in
Yes.
North America, you can
Yes.
go down to
Oh, yes.
Jamaica,
Yes.
to Kingston, and help out.
And all you have to do is pay your way. And we take care of you.
Yes.
Good.
We
good.
have
It
a
doesn't mean that
housing.
you might end up being a sister, but it could mean that.
Well,
Yes.
it could mean that, let me
Yes.
tell you. Yes, God has his own sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently you don't have to be Catholic either, because there you go.
We take care of that too.
God take care of that.
Yes.
That's great. I'm sure that there are many challenges in the work that you do. And not to get too focused on those, but can you give us a little bit a sense of what challenges you have, or what would be the greatest need that you have, and then maybe that will inspire people to help.
It's great. So go ahead, Sister Ashley. You're younger than I. Much younger than I. Your
Well-
challenges are different from mine.
Yes.
Well, the greatest need that we have is just we need people to volunteer and to help more.
So people.
Because these people, they're lonely.
Mm-hmm.
They're broken. They need they need love. And yes, we as brothers and sisters, we're there. But when we have friends that come down and help us, they see that, I might not be a part of that social world, but look, I'm embraced by.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And in a way, you're ministering to those volunteers as well, or they're being ministered by the people that you
Yes.
serve as well. Do you want to add anything to that, to challenges or needs that you have? I mean, there's a financial need, of course.
Of
I'm
course,
sure.
financial need.
financial
Yeah.
needs.
But as I've said, I've always said to when our volunteers, because our volunteers join us for lunch at our convent.
Yeah.
And I've always said to them, yes, financially we need, but we need your presence.
Yeah, and your prayers.
And your
Yes.
prayers, because truly, they say, oh, you're doing such a great job. No, we can't do the job. We can't do the job without
Without.
your presence.
Right.
To me, it's a circle. It's a circle, God's circle. It's a circle of love, God's love. And if that circle is broken by somebody leaving or somebody not being there, we cannot complete what God has asked
Yeah.
us to. But one of the challenges in Jamaica, though, I find sometimes a little frustrating, is that there's just such a stigma towards the disabled or the disfigured.
Right.
And I find that hard. Even a mother that has a child that is not so called what they think is perfect discards that
They're ready
child.
to-
Right.
And to me, I find that really hard, and
Yeah.
I accept it because I have no choice, and that's what it. But I find that a challenge. Just trying to get that parent to understand that, just because that child doesn't have the so-called beautiful face that
Right,
you know,
right.
but it's still your child.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
still
that's
your
the
child.
whole other part of the ministry, that it's education.
Yes,
And maybe
oh,
that'll
yes.
come in time. We've completely run out of time, but I don't want to end without, just given the uniqueness of both your vocation stories, what do we tell that young woman that's out there watching right now that is feeling the tug and is scared? Maybe she's not even Catholic, maybe she's older. What's the one message that you want to give that young woman, Ashley?
Be open to the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Let the Spirit move and do what it
Yeah.
wills.
Open to the Spirit. And Sister
Yeah, that's so
Joanne?
true. Let the Spirit, do whatever has to be done in your life, and give yourself over. Because you know what? Once you give yourself over,
God will do the rest.
yes, and you'll
Amen.
never look back. Never.
Amen. Amen. And you haven't looked back. Thank you so much. It's been so good meeting you.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that you reached out to us, and I hope that you're enjoying your visit here in Canada. Sister Joanne Belmonte, she's the founder and current superior of the Missionaries of the Poor, the Sisters, and Sister Ashley Spaulding, also a founding member of the Missionaries of the Poor Sisters. If you want to find out more about the Missionaries of the Poor, if you want to find out how to help them, or if you want to go and visit their website, missionariesofthepoor.org. And one of the tabs is you can learn about the sisters and the sisterhood and about their story and the work that they do. So missionariesofthepoor.org. And if you can't remember that, or if you want to find out more, you can always reach us here at Salt and Light TV through Facebook or Twitter, or on our website, saltandlighttv.org. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for being with us today. And may God continue to bless you and your home.